Well, welcome listeners, welcome to the pod. Old kids on the pod. It's John. And um, last week, Rid didn't do his fucking job.
I didn't. I accidentally recorded only my side of the whole conversation of the podcast, so we had basically had a one-sided recording, and there wasn't really any way to fix it because we never really did any kind of backup stuff. So there was no pod last week because of that.
I mean, it was nice to have a wee break in a way.
Mm.
It would have been nicer to be able to enjoy the break, but I guess it's different having to record and then realizing it was all for nothing.
Aye. I've been there before many times. There's been times before I streamed, when I did just YouTube stuff, where I recorded myself playing games and stuff, and then realised that either I wasn't recording audio the whole time, or I wasn't capturing the game the whole time, or that the game capture had frozen at some point. And I've streamed where I've thought I was unmuted, but I was actually muted for like a good 20 minutes, and I didn't realise. And it's just, aye. Sometimes it just slips your mind these things sometimes to check them, and you do it so often.
Technology is really temperamental in that way, in which you can do like really great things with technology, and like you can record and edit and stuff like that. But you know, it's this huge long kind of process, and there's all these wee steps. And if you miss one step,
it's a bastard.
You know, it can just totally affect it.
Aye. So I have been there many times. This is pretty much, I can guarantee anybody who does podcasts or streaming or YouTube, every one of them will have multiple stories, probably them fucking up a recording because they forgot to do one thing.
Well, we're back. We're back from our brief hiatus.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Well, I found out. So this is like a brand new kind of story that's popped up last night.
Breaking news,
and it's been kind of all over today. So I found out that, well, me and a lot of other people basically all found out that so there's a streaming software, right, that most people use called OBS. It just stands for Open Broadcasting System. It's free. It works pretty great, and it's one of the probably most popular used programs for people to like stream with and stuff. And a lot of people just use it for the locally recording thing as well, like I do. And there was there's a company called Streamlabs that a lot of people use for their donations that they would get through streaming, and they would use for setting up things like their alert notifications on stream. So whenever somebody like follows the channel and stuff, it'll pop up with a wee alert thing being like, this person did this, and then you can be like, oh, thank you. And
it's like, so it's kind of like a notification kind of service, Streamlabs.
Aye, and they do a lot of other stuff as well. But like that was one of the main things people used them for, was that, and also to keep track of things like donations and follows and all that kind of shit. Is you could go on their website and you would sign in through your Twitch account and stuff. And they, like a while ago, basically they released a version of OBS called Streamlabs OBS, where they had a lot of their features from their website kind of integrated into OBS as well, so you could kind of see it all in one place.
Seems like a natural kind of development.
Aye, and I think me and like pretty much everybody else just assumed that this was a partnership between OBS, the people that made OBS, and the people that run Streamlabs. Because,
well, especially if it's called OBS.
Aye, and the fact that it was literally, it looked very much like the same product, or like the same program, just with the Streamlabs stuff kind of added onto it. Turns out that's not the case. Turns out they just basically stole the whole thing and were like, we're just going to make our own version of OBS without permission. And OBS were like, well, can you at least use our name? And they were like, no, not only are we going to use the name, but we're going to patent it as well.
What the fuck?
And like, and OBS basically just for some reason never said anything about it until last night. They were like, so they basically did that, by the way. and everybody's like, "What the fuck?" So,
That
everybody no, everybody uses Streamlabs OBS, but a lot of people did. And if they don't use Streamlabs OBS, they at least use the Streamlabs website for their donations and alerts and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And a lot of big streamers, after finding this out, have basically came out and saying, if they don't fucking come, if they don't fix this, if they don't come forward and like apologize and fix this shit and take responsibility for this, I'm not going to use their shit anymore. I'm going to use other options, because there are other options of stuff to use that do the same thing that they do. So a lot of big streamers are doing it, or like came out and basically said fuck them for doing that, and we're going to use other stuff.
I'm glad that people have had that attitude, because that is so unethical.
It'll be interesting to see the response and how they're going to deal with this. But I'm gonna do that as well. Thankfully, there's ways to export all of the scenes and stuff that I have created in OBS Streamlabs to that I can just export all the files to regular OBS to be able to use it.
They did, like, just come up, like, copy and paste what they've got and call it Rid Streamlabs OBS, and like make millions maybe.
It's I'm gonna be moving on my shit. I'll be using regular OBS for now on, and I'm going to also use a different website for my alerts and stuff called Stream Elements, which is actually a really nice website that I've actually wanted to kind of switch over to for a while, but I didn't really have any reason to, no a day, so I'm like, well, fuck Streamlabs, I'll just go to Stream Elements now.
I think what you buy and what you put your money into, you want it to be ethical and stuff like that. Like, you don't. People don't want to essentially fund someone's business venture if they find out that business venture is like a piece of shit. It's just, I get that, and more people should do that. Hold these bigger brands to account.
They hopefully will. I mean, I'm doubting me using anywhere is going to have any impact at all. But the fact that the big streamers, like Pokemon and stuff like that, are basically saying fuck y'all. It's still an impact. So
it's still an impact.
It's crazy. I've literally most of the fucking like people talking about it are basically like, I thought this was like a partner thing they did. What the fuck? Like nobody thought that that they just blatantly just stole it and were like, we're just using this.
The absolute disrespect to say, yeah, we're stealing your shit and we're stealing your name.
It's crazy.
This level of disrespect.
It's actually crazy. But that's yeah, fucking.
I guess it's the tech industry. Like, it's just this is just what happens. Like, just copy and paste code for somebody else that's figured it out and has done the work, essentially. So, what have you thought about Halo?
I have been having a great time getting my arse kicked because I don't know any of the maps or any of the new weapons or where to get the weapons on the maps. Also, there's the new fucking game modes. The new like objective based game modes were a little confusing at first. Like one of them was called like Standpoint or something. That I was like, didn't really know how it worked in that. So I've been having a great time with it. It's very fun.
I'm enjoying it. It's a wee bit janky, but I think that's maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just my online kind of thing.
It might be it's not been janky for me really. I think I had one little moment in a match where it was laggy as fuck, but other than that, it's been running just fine for me.
It might be because my Xbox is like nearly 10 years old, and it's been like...
you are using like... Not only are you using the previous generation Xbox, but you're using like the very first version of it that came out. That's the big chunky bastard.
The very first version that's been in a bag, travelling with me for the past decade, kicked, thrown,
that
dropped.
Might be it, because I am running it on the Xbox S, the new one, and it's been running pretty great.
Must be nice.
I mean...
Must be nice.
Must be nice. I mean, it's not the big fucking powerhouse one that's like £600, but it's still an upgrade, I guess, for the Xbox.
I'm very happy and humbled with my Xbox. Thank you. Not many people can say that they have a working one at this point, I guess, because they've either traded them in for a younger model or
Aye.
it's at the back of the cupboard gathering dust.
I mean,
But yeah, I like Halo. I wish I could run it a wee bit better, but I guess that's what I get for trying to run a 4K game on a potato.
you should just upgrade to a new one.
I,
The,
I really should.
the Xbox S's aren't that expensive compared to like normally. Because normally when a new generation of consoles come out, every one of them's like fucking £300-400. But the Xbox S, the small one that I've got, only $250. Which I mean, it's not like that's a small amount of money or anything like that. But
that's a small, yeah.
compared to like normal prices for new generation consoles, it is on the cheaper side though. So.
I mean, in fairness, I think at this point my Xbox will probably only appreciate in value because it's practically an antique, and you know, you could upcycle it into something. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like a fan.
True.
But I was really enjoying Halo multiplayer. But I guess yeah, there is that kind of like there's these people that have obviously ripped the arse at the beta, and they have, you know, infinitely more experience than you do, and they
know the maps, they know like where to get all the weapons when they spawn, they know how to fucking where the right paths are to go to flank for like objectives and all this shit, and so until I learn the new maps very well, it's probably going to be a good wee arse kicking until
I absolutely fucking despise the driving of the Warthog.
I've actually not really tried driving much. I went in a Banshee for like 30 seconds and then blew up. And then I went in a...
Banshees have been kind of nerfed a wee bit, like they're really easy to pluck out the sky.
I've tried that new flying vehicle as well, the like fucking human created one.
Yet.
I got it once and it's pretty fun as well. It shoots rockets and all that. But I've not tried the actual just a regular Warthog driving yet.
They're faster, which is good. But you don't, or I've certainly not found that you have the same, like, see the handbrake, where you could like skid your back and like do a full 180. I don't know. I feel like you don't have as much control that way, because when I was driving, I was finding myself like having to brake and like reverse, and rather than just doing donuts and stuff like that. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't like the. I don't know. I'm just a wee bit wary of it in a way, because I just kind of feel like it's I don't know, like in Master Chief Collection, when I first bought it, I don't ever really remember getting like different types of gun skins or vehicle skins.
And the whole battle pass thing and that.
I guess over time that's just kind of how it's evolved. And I feel like this is just another kind of battle pass where people are going to have guns that are maybe modded, look better, camouflage better, and maybe if you don't play the game as much, you're at a detriment. Does that make sense?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think any of the battle pass stuff is actually going to affect gameplay in any way. I think it is. It's all going to be just aesthetic for the most part.
I hope so. I did see something that said something about modding weapons. Maybe that was like visor stuff that doesn't actually affect the output. So maybe just be like I don't know what you call it, the wee bullseye cursor.
The reticle.
The reticle. Yes, sorry. You know, maybe it's just like aesthetic changes like that. That's maybe just for the player.
It'll probably just be stuff like that. Aye. But that's I guess kind of the way things go nowadays. Free multiplayer game. A free multiplayer mode, but there's a battle pass that's like, oh, we want to pay for this, and fucking.
You want the nice shiny new armor, and people fall for it. People will like just. People are always looking to, put themselves across in a lot of things, whether it's their style or their aesthetic or stuff like that, political opinions. But people that make these games like with all these different skins and stuff like that, they know what really drives people, and that's people showing themselves off. Sometimes in a bad way, sometimes people do it in a bad way, but most of the time it's a form of self-expression, I guess. You know, like you get a leopard skin gun because maybe you're a wee bit extra.
I mean, it's definitely not as bad as fucking. It's definitely not up there with like Call of Duty, where you can literally some of the Call of Duty games you can literally make your own emblem with just using all the different like shapes and letters and all this shit, and people could literally just create anything they wanted, which is not always the best thing to give people that play online multiplayer games, because you will definitely see some shit you don't want to see, like a big Bobby on your screen, or a fucking Nazi flag or some shit, or a slur, and you're just like, okay.
I mean, like,
but,
I was wondering.
But even then, you're unlikely. They're not like in your face with it or anything like that. It's only really there if you look at their like character or something like that. But still.
Yeah, if you go out and actually look for it.
But yeah. But, I mean, there's nothing like that in Infinite. It's all like base
it's
stuff,
pre-done kind of stuff, which I'm really disappointed about, because I think it's Halo 3 was similar to that respect, where you could. I mean, I don't think it was like you could make anything, but you could, with say a grunt skull and like the legendary badge, you could create your own kind of badge kind of thing. And I was kind of looking forward to doing that in Infinite, but it's only really, you can have numbers, or you can have this, that, and the next thing, and then the rest of it is unlockable stuff that you would get through Battle Pass, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I'm really disappointed.
It's unfortunate that the Battle Pass stuff is like that. But I'm also I'm hoping that they're gonna, and they probably will, but I'm hoping soon that they'll add more options for playlists. Because I mean, sometimes I don't mind playing Capture the Flag and stuff, but sometimes I just want to play some Slayer.
Yeah.
And not having an option to just do some Slayer is, a bit annoying. I'm hoping they'll have more options and playlists to choose for where you can go for something more specific that you want to like play, rather than it being like, oh, I want to play some Slayer, but then you get like 10 matches in a row with fucking oddball or something. Yeah. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, that really does annoy me when I'm playing online, because sometimes I just want to go in a tank and just run riot. Sometimes I don't want to worry about whether or no the enemy has bombed the arm at my base.
No.
I just want to run riot.
Sometimes you just want to shoot some guys, and that's all.
Sometimes you just want to shoot some bad guys and call it a day. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Why do you go out and need to armor or arm some mad electrical thing? And then, just give me the shooting, give me the good guns, give me the good vehicles, and let me just have fun with that.
Yeah. But other than that, it's been pretty fun. They'll probably update it, and they'll add more shit as it comes, because they did always, I don't know if them releasing it a month early was like always planned, or if it kind of became a thing where they realised like, oh wait a minute, it's the 20-year anniversary of the Xbox and Halo, so maybe we should do that, and then they kind of had to maybe they had to rush it out a bit, so some of the options for like playlists and stuff weren't like ready to go. I don't know, but
so this might sound really naive, but is this free? The multiplayer? Is the multiplayer free?
The multiplayer is completely free. The only thing you have to pay for is if you want to play the campaign mode. That's a separate thing that you pay for. If you want to just play the multiplayer, then it's completely free.
Oh.
So.
I was sitting here, and I'm thinking to myself, right, this is just a wee teaser, right? This is just a wee thanks for playing, thanks for supporting us kind of thing. And then when the campaign was going to come out, that's when they would make you pay.
No.
But they're only going to make you pay for the campaign if you want to buy it?
Yep, pretty much.
Well, these are strange and wondrous times to be a Halo fan, let me tell you, because I have, you've seen my collection of my like special editions, memorabilia, anything kind of Halo related. I've belt buckle. I've got it, and I've paid for it. And Microsoft and Bungie and 343 Studios, they love that they love that cash. They love that cash flow of the merchandise, and it's 50% is probably from me. And for them to turn around now and be like, oh, well, there's a free game.
It's an interesting thing for them to do, because I guess for them it's like, because I'm not 100% on this, but I think like Call of Duty has done that,
I
or
think
just
they
does
did,
that
yeah.
now, where they're just
Hmm.
like, here's the free multiplayer. Also, here's the campaign mode that's like that you can pay for if you want to play the campaign mode, like the single player. And then to make up for the the amount of people that aren't going to bother with the single player mode, they're just like, here's a battle pass up the arse with all these microtransactions that
Mm.
we know some people will pay for. So
Do you know, I was just thinking there, like, say for instance, um, like I'm just thinking, like, do you think that they make more money rather than say a one individual payment for each game? Do you think they make more money by releasing the game free because there's people that will spend triple that, quadruple that
oh, I
on just coupons, vouchers, bucks, or whatever you want to call it?
they absolutely do. They absolutely make more money if they throwing this kind of game out than they do if they just selling at full price with nothing. But I mean, saying that, nothing stops game companies for selling you a full price game and then also having microtransactions in it anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
So, but like when it comes to this, if it was literally an option of either you pay your one price for the game and there's no microtransactions, or it's a free game with microtransactions,
Mm.
the free game with microtransactions would just makes more money. It does,
As I say,
because
it's just
there are so many people, either people that just have that part of their brain that just can't stop them from paying for stuff like that, or
yeah.
people that just are like loaded and just can't afford it and are just like, I'm just
Well,
gonna pay, I'm just gonna buy everything.
that was a point I was
You
going to
know?
bring up. Your customers aren't just a regular consumer; they're addicts.
Yeah,
They're addicted to the kind of lottery system, as opposed to someone who generally or genuinely likes your product. So I don't know, like you're kind of selling something to the wrong people, if that makes sense. If you're, well, for me, if I want to say what I wanted to sell a drawing of mine or a painting of mine, then it would kind of have to be tailored to the person that wants to buy it in some way. Whereas they just seem to be like a blank bit of paper and selling the blank bit of paper to folk and then drawing.
mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Like just
I mean,
I don't know.
it's been an ongoing debate. Well, not really a debate, but it's been an ongoing talking point for a number of years now in the video game world, because of how bad microtransactions and all that kind of stuff have gotten in games. It's one of those
Hmm.
things that people do talk about, how it is a problem, and it targets people who
Are
struggle
vulnerable.
with, who
Yeah.
are vulnerable, who struggle with like gambling and addiction and all that kind of stuff. It targets them to make
Yeah.
them like just give them money, and it is kind of predatory and shitty. And like you'll see, there'll be a lot of people. The only people that really ever disagree with or don't think it's a problem are the people that don't have. People will be like, "Well, I play these games and I don't ever have any inkling to pay for to like buy all the shit. I mean, I can quite happily like just buy like the battle pass that's like a tenner every like few months, and then
And be happy with that.
I'm quite
Yeah.
happy just doing that. So I don't see what the problem is. It's like, but this isn't about you. People are
Hmm.
different. Some people
Correct.
have got addictions where they, you know,
Some
they
people
keep
just don't have
going for it.
impulse control.
Aye,
Some people just they see something, they maybe have the money at that moment, and they think, right, well, I'm just going to go for it, and I'm going to treat
aye,
myself, I'm going to enjoy myself with my money, blah blah blah. But then cut to a month later, and they have no money for the things that they need
aye.
because their money's been put into essentially just a visual stimulant.
Yeah. So that's been a whole ongoing talking point for quite a few years now, because
Hmm.
it's how bad microtransactions and stuff have been getting
I
in game
do
for
think
a while.
there should be a distinction between, if you're playing a game, which I would play a game, you're looking to relax, you're looking to experience some form of escapism. But these kind of gambling games, they're essentially just a slot machine.
Pretty
And I
much.
think there should be a distinction between, well, what really makes a game and what makes something like a slot machine, which is kind of technically a game, but it's a game where it wants you to lose, and it doesn't matter how much or how much smarter you get, or if you get any stronger, you're you're still going to lose.
So luckily, the one nice thing about this, when it comes to Halo hasn't got Halo Infinite, what we've been talking about, it hasn't got the whole like loot boxes and stuff that other games have got, which is is one of the worst things that come with these kind of games usually. At least I've not noticed if they have them. I don't think they do. But when it comes to like the loot box kind of games that they really fucking that they really go after people with like gambling addictions and stuff. One nice thing, and I'm hoping this is going to become a norm in a lot of other places. Germany, quite a while ago, I think it was like earlier this year at some point, they actually have passed a law. Let me actually see if I can find this exactly what it is they've done. The German Federal Parliament has passed a new law for games that have loot boxes. They've passed an amendment ensuring that every game or other application that features loot boxes or similar in-game offerings will be classified with an age rating of 18 or older. Basically to try at least to try and make it so that they can't games like FIFA that are big on loot boxes and all that kind of stuff with their card packs and shit basically can't be. It won't be as easy for them to be, I guess, sold to like kids who will then be like, oh, I'm gonna go and grab my mom's credit card and just
get it,
buy myself all these packs. And at least parents, who maybe don't know as much about gaming, will now see that these games will have 18+ ratings on them and will be like, well, what's this about? Why is a game about Fitba 18+? Yeah. And then they can ask like the fucking cunts working the game shop or whatever, and they can be like, oh well, it's because of the loot boxes and gambling and all this, and then they'll be like, oh wait a minute, little Timmy's not getting this. Fucking gambling. So
well, see, this is the thing. A lot of parents don't really take in to do with every game that kid buys. It's like that kid could have like 10 games, and 9 could have microtransactions, and that parent doesn't know. That's where all their money's going, all their time and all their energy. And to me, it's kind of surprising how Sony or Xbox. I don't know a lot. I know enough about Steam to kind of comment on it, but specifically Xbox and Sony, they seem quite happy with it. They're not really being like, they're not really taking steps for me to address the problem or tackle it. They're very happy and just having that revenue flow in from people, as I say, that don't maybe have impulse control or maybe shouldn't be handling their own money, and it's just kind of making these people's situation worse.
I mean, at the end of the day, they're not gonna take any shit for it. I mean, they're not gonna get sued.
Well,
nobody's gonna sue Microsoft because these games are on the Xbox. They can
deny responsibility. They can deny it.
The people that are going to get fucked for it are going to be the publishers. Ubisoft and EA and all that, which they're the ones making the games and they're the ones putting this shit in it. So
it's a circle where they're all kind of pointing at each other, and it's never ending because the big companies that license the games and stuff like that, they're pointing at the developers, and then the developers are pointing back at them, going, "Well, let us do it." Because that it will make money, and you obviously want a game that will make money. So to me, it just kind of seems like, oh well, they didn't tell me about it. Oh well, they didn't tell me about it. Oh well, they it just kind of seems to be like this whole circle of ignorance.
Actually, I don't actually know if that how that works. If Microsoft and that get any like cut of that money for like loot boxes and stuff. I don't know if they actually do. I'm not sure how that would work. Because if it's a game like FIFA, for example, that we've spoken about, that's on everything. So would that mean true. EA would have to give a percentage of the money they make for the for loot boxes to each platform that their game has been sold on? I don't actually know. I'm not sure if that is a thing or not.
Who's buying FIFA? Who's buying FIFA?
Just Fitba fans, basically. I don't know. FIFA is one of the most confusing games to me because it's literally just it's literally just copy and paste. I mean, it's not even the fact that it's just a Fitba game. It's literally it comes out every single year. A new game comes out, and and this isn't even me just making a joke. It has been proven. It has actually been proven that they just copy and paste the game, and it's basically the same game with just like some new shit on it, with some like new like fucking menus and maybe a very very slight things where they'll be like, oh, this game mode that was in a FIFA game a few years ago that you forgot about, oh, we're adding it in this one, oh, and we're talking to advertise it as this brand new thing, even though it's been in a previous game before. And it's just like here's basically the same game where like not even a new colour of paint, just like dabs a new paint on it. And like people buy it every year and then spend hundreds of money on loot boxes and all that, and it's just like, what the fuck?
And for what? I don't understand it. Like the cover is the same every year.
It's just
they don't even try and hide that it's the same game. And they've started a business with releasing the game every year, but no having anything new to add. So they're kind of in this position where the people that are buying FIFA are the people that are doubling down on their brand investment, where they're like, oh, I guess I need to buy FIFA this year. No, you don't. It's a shit game. Play the one played last year. Buy it every 4 years.
Aye.
Get a real change every time you play it.
And that's like, the only thing people can defend with it being out this yearly release will be them being, well, they need to update the teams with the new players and all this blah blah blah. Like that. They can just patch that in. They don't need a whole new game for stuff like that.
Exactly.
They just don't.
I mean, I'm thinking about like the environmental impact of like, or maybe not now because like people buy digital versions of the game, but way back when there's just all these versions of the same game just being printed every year, and rather than just being like, hey, we are FIFA and we have got this game, and every so often we'll update this game and then we'll maybe bring out a new one. That kind of makes more sense to me, somebody who enjoys games. But I guess they're not in it for making the game and making it a good game. They're in it for, getting that coin.
It's just the fact that they don't even have the decency to just make FIFA like a free game every year, where it's just like, here's the new version of FIFA, it's free, but it's got loot boxes up the arse that we still make plenty of profit on. They don't even have the decency to do that. They're still like, this copy and paste game that's basically the same as last year's, and has loot boxes up the arse that we're going to make fucking a fortune off it. I bet we still want you to pay £50 for it. It's like, fuck it off. what the actual audacity of that? And then people just buy it, and it's crazy.
I'll never understand people that buy it.
It's insane.
I think the people that buy it have maybe or not everybody, because people will buy it, people buy it regardless, but I think the people that maybe buy it and play it religiously have an unhealthy obsession with football.
Aye.
Where I just kind of feel like, FIFA would be the only game they play. Football news will only be the news that they get. Or, that kind of, it's just their whole life is revolved around one thing.
Aye. I hate that. Bad.
Go out and shoot aliens. It's fun. Essentially FIFA for me is just like a really complicated version of Pong. Sorry. Where it's just one end to the other. There's blockades or barriers or however you want to call it that influence the ball's movement. And stupid people pay £60 a year for a glorified version of Pong. I'll never understand it.
I don't get it at all. It's fucking. It's one of the few things in gaming. Usually I'm all about like saying like, oh, this game isn't for me, but I can see why people would maybe like it, or I guess people do like it, but it's not for me. But like, it's one of the few occasions where I'm just like, I just don't get it. I'm just like, I don't understand it at all, and how people buy this shit every year. It's crazy.
When I was younger and when I was coming up, and maybe you're the same, but like sports games just didn't appeal to me. Just they never appealed to me. Like it just, if I was playing a game, it was as I say, it's for that escapism. And as I got older and like your taste develops in a lot of ways, and I found that Mario Kart, which is a racing game, which I hate racing games, but I love Mario Kart because it's so fun and it's interesting because it's not just racing around the track. It's, well, here's some items to throw and you can be a wee bit shady and a wee bit more competitive. But like FIFA and stuff like that, it always has to be the football game. It can never be more. Does that make sense? Like Trials, for instance, which is um, I mean, it's a biting game, but it's more about style, or it's more about like,
No.
don't know, you know what I mean. Um, that that can go beyond being just a dirt bike and a dirt bike route, because you've got other modes and really extreme kind of challenges. As I say, with FIFA, it's only ever going to be FIFA. It's never going to be anything other than that.
No. I'm the same way. I've always enjoyed the very like arcadey kind of sports games like the like the Mario sports games and all like that. I've always
Hmm.
had good times with them, but I've never, I mean, I love to play Mario Tennis and Mario Golf and all that. But if you're like, oh, do you want to play some PGA Tour? And I'm like, no,
No, never.
I'm good.
And whoever offered you that offer is not someone you need in your life at all. Get that out. Get to hell out with that offer. Fucking PGA Tour. Golf games, for me, I think ignite a hatred in me because one, I hate golf. I don't think that it's a serious sport. And if you play golf, good for you being white and in your 60s and being, having the money to do that. But I hate golf. I don't see the
Wow.
point in it. It's boring. Fuck everybody that plays golf. I would spit in you in your face if you tell me you like golf.
Oof.
But golf games are even worse because it's the exact same thing, but just in a computer game, and there's no development. Mario Golf, I can get behind. As I say, there's an added element of fun and whimsy that makes it more than just the game. But golf can eat shit.
Absolutely hatred for golf. What has golf ever done to you?
Golf can eat shit. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just the idea of it annoys me because you right. Okay, let's explore the day of a golfer. Right, they get up. They take in the day. They're going to go. This is a great day to go out golfing, and then they seek to stand, walk, and slightly pace and hit a ball for maybe about 8 hours. And it is so serious. So serious, you'd think they were curing cancer. Honestly. Like, I get any golf video you've seen where it's been like Jackass or, people like Eric Andre, where they disrupt the kind of systems, and they golfers, oh, they do not like it. Don't you
Uh,
dare. Don't you dare ruin their golf.
I mean, I've never been into golf myself. I've never actually tried to play golf. I've played a bit with golf clubs
Yeah, like putt, like
and stuff
mini
like
golf.
that. But aye, it's
I don't know. I think it's a class thing because you
I,
have to have great clubs and they're thousands of pounds, and then you have to wear the exact clothes, and they always have to be a certain element of designer. And do you know what I mean? It just, to me, going to some uptight place that has been landscaped to within an inch of its life, just so you can golf for 8 hours. And for what? Like, football, or people that play football, they're athletes. Athletes. They train, they work hard. And I'm not saying golfers don't train or work hard, but I've never looked at a golfer and went, I need to take up this sport because I want to look like you.
nobody's after
Footballers.
people always after that like that swim body. Nobody wants the golfer body.
Everybody says swimmers have like great bodies. They're built, they're very lean. Footballers, the same. They're sprinters, they're very lean, the six pack, all that kind of stuff. Golfers are, 60, hunched out a wee bit, beer belly. I'm not looking at that and going, wow, you have a dedication to your athleticism.
Wow, you just
If somebody changed my mind about golf.
absolute hatred for golf, man. I
I
mean,
invite.
I don't really care about golf all that much, but I don't have such hatred towards it.
No, it's just so pointless. It's just so fucking pointless. I can't think of anything worse to do with your time. Like, see if you want to go out and enjoy nature, which a lot of golfers will say that that's their reason for it. They like to be one-way nature and out in the day and stuff like that, which I totally respect and I can understand. Why do you need to be holding a fucking £1,000 golf club to do it? Why do you need to be wearing a fucking shitey wee Lacoste polo shirt to do it? And your wee bonnet so your heat doesn't get sunburnt? No.
Our country invented this sport, John.
Our country, from the town that we were raised in, is the town that invented curling, and it has the world's first curling pond. Scottish people have given a lot of many good things to this world. I don't think golf's one of them.
It is. We invented golf.
No, I'm not. I'm not
You're just
disagreeing with the fact.
you're just saying it's
I'm
not
saying,
a great thing at the moment.
yes, it's one of the out of all the things that we've given to this world. Golf is not the one. And do you know what's weird? I actually feel like I'm making enemies. Even though I know it's only just me and you listening, I feel like there's people that want my blood now. For saying these words.
I mean, there's definitely people that play golf that don't fit under the description that you've been saying. They're probably like, what the fuck?
Definitely. I hope there is. I hope there is. But as I say, change my mind about golf. If you can tell me something that is uniquely special with golf, then I get it. Like people that they go out running and like jogging and stuff like that. When people ask them, well, why do you do it? And they're like, well, I love the clears my head. I love the runner's high. It's healthy. All that, there's lots of good reasons for doing it. I've never heard one for golf that is like uniquely special to golf.
Mm.
Do you know? Honestly, it's just a class thing and it's a status thing, and I'm here to eat the rich.
It is out of all the sports that exist, golf is that one sport that does have this like whole class system in it, where it's like
definitely
there's the country clubs and you have to join, and there's like and you have to have the money to buy clubs, and the fucking courses take up so much. The courses take up so much fucking space. Because of how like big they have to be. There is the whole issue with that.
This
when
is
it comes
the thing.
to golf.
Like, we never came for much. We didn't have a hell of a lot growing up. But if we had a football, we could. There was so much we could do. It's a football. MD can enjoy. Playing football, and I don't even like football. I'm not the first person to defend it, but like football is a very accessible sport. Tennis is less so. Like tennis, but stuff where maybe good equipment is needed is less accessible. But I think football's probably the most accessible, and then maybe golf is going towards the least.
Aye, I mean even then the town we grew up in has got tennis courts that you could go down and rent out for very cheap to play.
Very true.
And there's like fucking a million fitba pitches. I mean, they're no full sized fitba pitches, but they are fitba pitches that you could still play on with a few people.
And there's goal posts.
And there is a golf course not that far as well for our town that we grew up in, but
that's true.
You
need to pay to use the course. Obviously, you can't just rock up.
And you have to have your own set of golf clubs that are, no matter how shitey they might be, they're going to cost you quite a bit of money. So
even the cheap ones are.
Aye.
I mean, you could probably get like a really dirt cheap set. I'm going to just Google dirt cheap golf set. Right, I mean, type in dirt cheap golf set, and the first one is £300.
Oof.
And then they obviously go up to like really ridiculous prices, but for what? You mean if you go in Gumtree and like other places like eBay and stuff like that, there's so many people selling their golf kits because they know it was a bad investment.
This is now
enough about my
hatred
of golf.
This turned into the fuck golf podcast now.
This is fuck golf on the pod with Rid and John.
And some kind of cool news. I've just seen the new Minecraft update is just been, well, it's not released, but they've just said it's coming out at the end of the month.
That's sweet.
which I've
I
been
really,
pretty cool. I've
really
been
would
waiting on it.
love to get back into Minecraft.
You should. It's super fun.
Very relaxing. I always like that about like Minecraft. It was just very relaxing. Building because I never did the survival mode. Didn't appeal to me.
I love the survival mode. I love building a base.
I mean, let me ask you a very fair and honest question. You know, why play like the survival mode? Like, see when you play the survival mode, right? And you're and you're doing the thing, you're mining and all that kind of stuff. Is part of you thinking, if I was just in creative mode, I could just.
There's no satisfaction because it didn't take any effort to collect the stuff needed to build the thing I wanted to build.
But is the satisfaction not then with the thing that you've built as opposed to gaining the materials to do it?
No, because as soon as because usually I give myself a project, and as soon as it's built, I don't play it anymore.
All right, okay.
So it's about for me, it's about the journey, not the destination. In Minecraft, I like having I like going into survival mode, having a project idea in mind, and working towards said project. Also, I just enjoy exploring mines and fighting off monsters while I try and get materials and resources and building up as well to go and fight the Ender Dragon and all that shit.
Yeah, the stakes are higher.
Yeah, like I enjoy playing like hardcore Minecraft every now and then as well. You get one life and that's it. If you die, you have to delete your world and challenging yourself to try and kill the Ender Dragon in one life and all that shit. So
I guess for me, I'm just kind of more creative minded. Where I guess that's my thought process is, why am I doing this? Why am I sitting mining for an hour when I could just go click click click, and get the stuff that I wanted?
I can get that. I can understand that feeling towards it.
To me, the most enjoyment I get out of games like Minecraft is the creation, is like taking all these individual blocks and these individual pieces and creating something that you probably wouldn't be able to create in a regular game. Because that's more fun for me. Like I found that the older I get, the more I want to kind of tailor the games that I enjoy, like visually or story wise or stuff like that. I just kind of want to tailor them more to my experience. If I'm playing Skyrim, then I usually like mod it slightly. Know that just so everything comes to me very like easily, where I've just got all the best weapons and all the best armor. There's no fun in that. But where I'll maybe be like, well, this playthrough I want to do like a stealthy archery type thing. So I'll maybe give myself like a good bow and arrow. Give myself a wee bit of an edge to tailor the story more to how I want to experience it.
I could get that.
And I guess the same with Minecraft. It's the same.
I can get that. I can get like taking away the things that stop you from getting what you actually want to do. Because I've recently decided on a somewhat similar thing to do for a specific game. So for quite a few years now, obviously I've been for a lot of time, most of my life now, I've been playing Pokemon and enjoying it a lot. And then obviously more recently, over the past like 5-6 years, I've been very much into the whole Nuzlocke thing in Pokemon games, where it's, for anyone who may not know what a Nuzlocke is, it's basically playing Pokemon with permadeath, where Pokemon faints, that's it, dead, can't use it anymore. And it's just about trying to beat the game without losing all your Pokemon that you've got. And for the longest time, playing Nuzlocks, usually what will happen is you play through it, you'll have a team, you'll get into some hard fight, maybe you'll lose a couple of your team members and then you have to replace them, but then you're sitting with a full team of Pokemon at like level 30 or something, and then you go to your PC to see what you've got to replace like your stuff with, and they're all like level like 15 or below, and you're like, oh well, now I have to grind them up to 30 and it takes ages. And
so it's like legendary kind of mode where there's not only regular stakes where they faint and you have to go and heal them, it's elevated to the point where if they faint then you lost.
Aye. So the whole grinding aspect of like whenever I have to replace team members, I have to like grind levels. And I don't know why it took me so long to just think of this and be like, yeah, I probably should have just done this. But recently I basically came to the conclusion of, why don't I just... Because I play with all these other things to make it more challenging. It's not just the rule set of, it's just, permadeath. I have all these other rules like level limits. I make it so I don't allow myself to be, for my Pokemon to be higher leveled than the next like gym leader, so that I can't just be like, I'm just gonna level everybody up like
wipe them.
5 levels higher than their whole team and then just wipe them out. Like it's a forced challenge basically. And I've thought to myself,
make the battles more interesting as well.
I'm like, if I'm playing with a level limit, why don't I just cheat in rare candies? And then anytime I need to grind something up, like this pure super low level to catch up with the rest of my team, I just use rare candies on them. Instead of spending hours grinding, because there's no challenge in grinding, and it's no fun or enjoyable in any way.
I totally agree.
And I'm just like, there's literally no reason not to do that. In fact, depending on the game you're playing, it actually makes it more challenging. Because if you use rare candies, you don't get effort values on your team. And normally in Pokemon, when you battle wild Pokemon to level up, you'll fight quite a few dozen before you get to the level you want to get to if you're training up something new. And in those dozen Pokemon, you'll get effort values, which give you more stats. But if you use rare candies, you don't get them. So technically, the Pokemon will actually be weaker than what it would have been if I trained it up in the wild.
Yeah.
So it's actually making the game harder anyway. But, making it so I don't have to spend hours grinding up new team members every time something dies. No, I can just, play the part of the game that's actually fun and challenging.
And these types of things, the grinding especially, I've found that, I mean, maybe games are taking a new direction where before a game, you could have those kind of moments where there were time-consuming missions or options or stuff like that, that was maybe more about immersing you into the world. But I think these days people just want the immersion. Like, they don't want to have to sit. To use Skyrim as another example, have to mine for material and then smith the material, and then it's just a very lengthy process that kind of takes you away from the fun of the game, which is the adventure.
Yeah,
You're becoming more regular, I guess. And we've had this conversation before where I've basically said that if you're meant to be like the chosen one in a game, or if you're meant to be like, really important to the story and stuff like that, why the hell are you a blacksmith? Why the hell are you going and doing little errands for people? I've lost my socks in the woods. Can you get them? Baby, no. I am the chosen. You should be doing that. Go and do that. Let me be whatever it is I need to be in this story.
I love the meme of that I've seen a meme of that before, where it's like every RPG ever's like first quest, find Mrs. Wilkinson's lost cat, and then it's like last quest of the game, defeat literally God.
Yeah.
It's pretty much every RPG. Start off doing fucking menial fucking stupid stuff, and then
Like
it's I was ends with you killing some kind of deity.
Final Fantasy VII.
Which actually is starting to bother me now, that every RPG I play has to end with some kind of god behind the whole thing, some kind of godlike being. Like, it's like you'll play a game and it seems like the main like antagonist is like just some guy who's an arsehole. It's just some villain that isn't he like a god or anything like that, but he's still maybe powerful, maybe a dickhead and all that, and it seems to be the main villain. And then the last chapter of the game, it'll just be like, oh, actually there was this god behind the whole thing. It's just like, okay, again, every main villain RPG has to be some fucking deity. It's just,
it kind of is. I think it's part of and those kinds of games, they're focusing too much on telling the story, where the hero's journey and the defeat of whatever it was that was holding the hero back, kind of thing, rather than being like, what kind of makes sense for the game or the universe, like having a trick or a reveal at the end where it was like, hey, well, this guy's been pulling the strings the whole time. It just kind of feels like, well, then why were you showing me the other guy? I'm not interested in him. I'm not interested in like the grunts or middle management. I want the boss. I'm Karen. I want to speak to the manager. Get them out.
If it's no like a character that's been like established already and has if it's no something that's been like somewhat at least foreshadowed that when it happens you can be like, oh, I now see. But if it's literally just out of nowhere, like, oh, actually this guy's been behind it, and you're just like, who the fuck is that? Then it's just it just feels like, okay, so it's just this is just here for this moment and doesn't actually really add anything.
Do you know? I kind of feel like that's where Halos went. I feel like that's where we are now, and like, well, maybe I'm wrong, but in Halo Infinite with the campaign, I just kind of feel like it's going to be, here's all these enemies that were in other games that you've either not played or weren't bothered enough to play, and they are the main villains now.
Aye.
It just kind of seems like they're shoehorning enemies where, if you've ever played Halo, the amount of enemies is never ending. And it just kind of seems to be like, well, here's these guys, and it's like things that have never kind of really been established or developed. It's just something new to sell the new game.
I've honestly no idea what the fuck is going on in Halo anymore, because I've pretty much exclusively only know the story of what happens in the actual games. I've never really read much into like the actual other lore and like the books and all that kind of stuff. So like for me, it's like the first 3 games had a really nice story going across the trilogy and ended really well, I think, and I enjoyed it. And then 4 came out, and I was like, all right, so now there's some other race and some guy in a big fucking bar who apparently is some god or some shit, and like there's this whole other story with him like no control, like him try to destroy humanity, and it's just all this other shit. And I'm like, okay, so this is, I guess, a new villain. And then I never played 5, and now I have no idea what the fuck is going on in Infinite. Apparently, Cortana went rogue in 5 or some shit, and I'm just like, I don't even fucking know what's going on. In the story at this point, I'm just like, last time I knew what was going on in Halo was the end of Halo 3.
This is the thing, like, with Halo, the first trilogy, if we're just kind of disregarding everything else, the first trilogy had a great story, and it had so many avenues in which that they could have went to do a 4th or do another trilogy, and I have no idea why they went the way that they went.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, the whole didact Forerunner thing, in the lore, the Forerunners are long meant to be extinct, and they're meant to be in some way or fashion the responsible for the Flood's form as it is, and this stuff takes place over millions of years, right? So if they just had the first trilogy that was like, say, the John 117 trilogy, and then say they went to a different place in the universe and in the time where it was like, well, here's the Forerunners fighting the Flood initially, where there is no, where there is no human weapons or vehicles, and everything is entirely new. That to me that would have made more sense than just try and shoehorn the history and then like the current story together. There was a. It's like we were talking about, where it's just like, oh, and here's this big thing now. Here's the twist.
I mean, that's the thing, is for them, it's probably they kind of in their mind, it's probably a case of like, oh, well, we have to have Master Chief involved. Who's going to buy a Halo game without Master Chief? So
I would.
They kind of have to just. There is probably a lot of Halo fans out there that are like, who have read all the other like stories for the books and stuff like that are like not, you know, they like Master Chief. You like Master Chief.
Yeah.
Everybody likes Master Chief. But, you know,
Yeah.
you're not so attached to him that you're like, I refuse to play a game that doesn't start Master Chief. But there's probably a lot of casual fans and stuff that are like, oh, still got Master Chief in it, so why the fuck am I going to play it? You know, there would be people like that.
In Halo 2, like, the gameplay was split between being 117 and between
And Arbiter,
the Arbiter,
which was great.
And that was really great, like, you know, because you were both experiencing a story that kind of came together, and it was really good that way. So, and people really responded to playing as the Arbiter. People were like, you know, we love it so much that we want to be a choice in multiplayer to be someone from the Covenant, to be one of this. Is it the Sangheili? Yeah, I think it's the Sangheili. Aye, you know, so even if they did something like that, where it was like it was like the start of a trilogy, and it was the Covenant side of it, where you get to explore all the factions, how they work together. As you know, is there any civil unrest? You know, there was a lot of things that were touched in like the original trilogy, but if they did like a new trilogy, I just don't understand why, out of the plethora of things they could have done, they were like, right, so here's this guy nobody's heard of, or, you know, and nobody knows why he's there, but guess what, he's back, and he's a bitch with some attitude, and he's, you know, he's trying to destroy the world.
It's
you know,
it's such an odd thing. I don't even I have no idea what the fucking story of Halo Infinite is going to be at all, because I said, I've no idea what the fuck happened in 5, other than apparently Cortana went apeshit. Other than that, I'm like, I have no fucking idea what's going on, so I'm probably not even going to be that bothered about the story. I'll most likely just play the multiplayer and have a good time with it. So
I do wish that they would do it justice, because I think it should be the last one, because they've not called it Halo 6, they've called it Halo Infinite, and I think they should maybe just stay at this point where they keep Halo Infinite as the base game and just update it. You know, where the campaign is the campaign, and it's like the final laid to rest for any form of story. But maybe it's better if Halo go that way, the multiplayer, like the free multiplayer. You know, because a lot of people now, or the story in Halo has progressed to a degree where you kind of can't really go back and capture that magic. Like, brief plot synopsis: John 117 is a Spartan 2. You know, the second generation is, or, you know, the first fully fledged generation of Spartans, and then you've got third generation Spartans, and now you have fourth and fifth generation Spartans. So being a Spartan in the early start of the Halo universe was something really special, because out of something like 150 initial kids that were put through the program, only something like half of them survived, and even less into active duty. So the legend, if you want, or the area of mystery around a Spartan was justified. You know, because there weren't any Spartans, and they were capable of great things, and it was like, you know, it was a first. Humanity in the colonies had never seen such bravery, and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And then at this point in the story where we're at, you know, every cunt in their dug's a Spartan. You know, you could go down the road, go into like the local wee co-op or the Spar or something like that, and pick up a Spartan out the fridge. You know, it just kind of seems more like the story. They should either just drop it dead, or just go somewhere else, just completely something else. It's
kind of like in Dragon Ball Z, how like the whole Super Saiyan thing was like this legend that they talked about for like the first like couple for like the whole like Saiyan saga and Namekian saga. They talked about so much, and then it was this whole big thing when Goku became a Super Saiyan. And then nowadays it's like fucking every cunt's a fucking Super Saiyan.
Aye.
It's every Saiyan that shows up in the show, every Saiyan, every half Saiyan, every fucking quarter breed Saiyan is like, you can just go Super Saiyan at the age of like 3-year-old and just,
you know, it's not even that now.
It's no special
like,
anymore.
You could be a Super Saiyan, which people thought originally, as you say, like really special, and then it's like the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan version 6.5, you know, download the night while your phone's charging, and folk are like, "Oh, you're just a wee Super Saiyan." Oh well, you know, how 20 years ago. I guess it's the fate of any kind of media in which it grows and it ages, and stories kind of do come to an end.
That just reminded me. I didn't. I think I was going to bring this up, but I forgot. And then it just talking about that just reminded me. Did you see the new Dragon Ball game that they announced?
I have not.
It's so weird. And one of the games, like, I would never have thought of this being a thing for a Dragon Ball game, but it sounds like it could maybe be fun, but I don't know. It's so weird. So, have you heard of the game Dead by Daylight?
I have, yeah. Yeah?
It's a Dragon Ball game that's...
No.
Aye. It's that kind of game, but it's Dragon Ball. You, the one person, rather than playing as like a murderer, you play as one of the villains, like Cell, and the other people play as like humans, and they're trying to escape and survive the villain. And you get technology and gadgets and shit to like shoot them away or to like try and escape them from. And like one of the characters you play is Oolong, who can transform, and you can use him to transform into like objects to hide from like the villain who's flying about trying to kill everybody.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it sounds really fun, and I'm watching the trailer right now, and it looks really fun, but
it's so strange, isn't it? It's just like, what? Who thought of that? Who like to put those two things together? Like, I Dead by Daylight, let's make a Dragon Ball version of that. It's such a strange thing, but it's like I could see it maybe being fun. I guess I'll have to wait till it comes out. But
I can see it being really fun. Like, I can see a lot of time being spent playing this.
It's so weird.
What a weird idea, yeah. Because like if they're all humans, then as I understand it, they have no chance in hell of escaping like Frieza and Cell, who can sense them.
Aye, I guess. Aye.
But they might explain that in the game, or they might be tone it in the game. But
it's one of the things. I'm assuming the way it's going to work is it's going to be like. I'm assuming it's going to be. I think in the trailer they only show Cell as the villain, but I'm assuming it's going to be like you'll be able to choose between like Frieza, Cell, Boo, all this other shit. And I'm assuming what's going to happen is it'll be like either you escape or you survive long enough, and then like Goku or something shows up to like fight them off, and that's how you win. Is like the humans or whatever.
Yeah, so you just survive. You don't really engage.
It's basically just like I'll survive till Goku shows up to save us, kind of thing. It's like will probably be like the whole point here, but I don't know. It could be very interesting.
I mean, I'm certainly going to play it. Like, I do find it a wee bit strange, but I'm definitely going to play that.
Yeah. Pretty much was my exact thought. Like, I was watching the trailer and I was just like, what am I watching? And then by the end of it, I was like, I'm probably going to play that, but I'm very confused.
You know something? It's smart because, the people that maybe make the games have been like, maybe people are tired of seeing a fighting game with Dragon Ball Z. It's predictable at this point. Everybody's kind of like, everybody's like, well, when is Dragon Ball Z going to bring out their new fighting game that we can, disregard after a few turns, or compare it to Capcom?
That's the thing. It's like Dragon Ball FighterZ is like the peak of all Dragon Ball fighting games. I don't see how they're ever going to do a better game than that.
Yeah.
Or a more popular Dragon Ball fighting game than that. So at this point, just have fun with it and just do other shit with the series.
I mean, that it's yeah. I think that's exactly what they've done. They've been like, right, that's a fun idea. That's a fun concept. I think I would have a lot of fun playing that.
Yeah.
Because maybe it's good as a player as well. Because if you're a player or a fan of the Dragon Ball Z games, then you're used to being the Super Saiyan, the person who beats the enemy. But in this game, the roles reversed. You're the weaker one. You have to avoid them. You're the human counterpart in this universe.
Yeah.
Which I like. I guess I like that.
But it seems like it would be could be a fun time. It's not until like next year at some point, but I'm definitely going to try that game out, I think.
I'd definitely watch that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I guess that like it's a trend these days in games where people kind of adopt other people's concept, like that Dead by Daylight. I think there's a couple of other ones that are similar to that.
Friday the 13th is pretty much the same kind of concept as well. One player's a killer and the others are trying to like get stuff together, like items and shit in a map to try and escape before the killer kills everybody. This is very similar kind of that kind of one monster versus survivors idea.
Yeah.
Because
It's not meant to be like a 1 versus 1 situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a, because I think a lot of fighting games can end up that way where it's 1 versus 1. But I think these types of games, it's more about the aim isn't to win. The aim is just to survive.
Right. And it seems like a very fun concept, and it's a very interesting one to throw in something like Dragon Ball. So I think it'll be, it's like, because it's not normally, it's the two big games of this kind of genre are just horror games. So like throwing it onto a goofy fucking, anime shonen kind of thing is an interesting concept. It's completely opposite kind of situation, kind of game.
I like that.
So it will be fun, I think. Yeah.
I like that. It's fresh. What you having for dinner tonight?
I have no fucking idea. Probably some chicken and chips. Actually, I've got a couple of Scotch pies. I might actually just make some Scotch pies.
Like a wee Scotch pie?
I love a wee Scotch pie. I'll have them later. Bye. How about you? What you having?
I don't know. Alan was taking Sasha to the vet, so I don't know if he's brought anything back. But I was just getting her just checked up because we've noticed she's getting a wee bit slower. But she is at that age, unfortunately, where she's just kind of an old dog.
Yeah.
But when we adopted her, we maybe the next week we can talk about like adopting pets and stuff. But when we adopted her, well, I knew that we weren't getting her for a long time, just a good time.
Yeah.
But she's been a treasure, and I hope that continues for as long as possible.
Aye, hopefully.
But I think that's our show for today.
Yeah. That's a good time.
As always, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, hearing your views, listening. But kids, if I was to tell you anything, stay the fuck away from golf. It is the devil's sport. And yeah, that's all I have to say on it. Everything else has already been said.
Yeah. Fuck golf, I guess.
And everybody that's listening have just heard Rid say fuck golf, so he was the one that kind of spearheaded the movement.
Clearly.
I am taking nothing to do with what Rid said, so.
Okay, let's see how it is. Alright.
Seen a bus coming and threw you under it. But thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah, thank you all for
Join
listening.
us next week.
Yeah, well, we will see you. We will see you next week. This one is definitely going to go up because I've definitely recorded both sides.
And,
so don't worry.
And I have recorded a backup just in case.
All right.
See you next week, guys.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.